When it comes to posing a character, there's always one feature that gets overlooked, but it can make all the difference in your pose. Brows. They're essential when posing your character's face, and getting them right is the key to bringing your character to life. In this video, we have Simona, our co-founder and instructor at Animate, teach you guys the secrets of posing brows. She most recently worked on Marvel's Ant-Man Quantumania, so I'll be taking out my notebooks if I were you. And with that, I hope you guys enjoy this very in-depth lesson from our comprehensive animation course Animate.
Hey everybody, today we'll focus all of our attention on the eyebrows, just like we did with the eyes before. First, let's start with a tiny anatomy lesson and talk about the two main muscles we need to think about when animating eyebrows. The first is the large frontalis muscle, and the second is the small corrugator muscle. You don't need to remember the names, but you need to understand how they move. The first thing you need to know is that when any muscle contracts, they always move the mass attached to them by pulling and never pushing. The frontalis muscle originates at the top of the forehead, and so when it contracts, it pulls the eyebrows up, creating those forehead wrinkles where the extra skin folds. And when the frontalis relaxes, the eyebrows go back to their original neutral position. The corrugator muscle is also called the frown muscle, and it pulls the inner eyebrows down and together, creating that creasing between the brows. There are other muscles as well, but these two are all we really need to know because they give us all four directions of movement. So thanks to the frontalis, we get up and out, and thanks to the corrugator, we get down and in. We can now mix and match these two to create different expressions. So for example, a worried expression would be with the frontalis pulling up and the corrugator pulling in at the same time. Remember that the eyebrows can also have asymmetrical shapes, but there are a couple of rules that you should be keeping in mind. The first thing is that eyebrows usually stay symmetrical when the reaction is involuntary. So for example, when you get scared, your eyebrows shoot up without you thinking about it, or when you suddenly get mad, they turn into a deep frown. And these expressions almost always look symmetrical. On the other hand, voluntary expressions tend to be asymmetrical. So for example, when you're questioning someone or you're suspicious, that's when you usually have that one brow up and the other one down. And the other thing, and this is the most important, is that no matter what pose you're making, the eyebrows always need to feel connected. The easiest way to imagine this is by drawing a mask on top of the eyes and eyebrows. Can you see how one eyebrow flows into the other in all of these poses? Either they're more symmetrical and the eyebrows are straight, or they shoot up, but they're always feeling connected, like the muscles are working together. So they don't have to be doing the same thing. You can see one is going up, the other one is going down, but you can still draw a straight line through them like I did here in purple. All these muscles on the eyes and eyebrows are working together. A great example of this is the face mask in The Incredibles. For example, here you can see her frowning, and the mask is going down into this one point, but the muscles are still connected. It's not like one is up here pointing up and the other one is pointing down. Same thing here, one continuous mask, and here as well. So whenever you're posing the eyebrows and the eyes, you can always think about that area as a mask, and that way you can make sure that everything flows together nicely. And we also have this video of the Moana rig, and I purposefully found one where you can see the wireframe and also the controllers on the rig, and that way it's easier to actually follow how the eyebrows move. So you can see no matter what they're doing, they're always flowing together, even in asymmetrical poses. And same thing here for Raya. So you can see the inner brows are always pointing together, and here too you can draw a clear line from one brow into the other. An example of what you shouldn't be doing is this pose on Max. So here you can't really draw a smooth line. You go from the outer brow to the inner brow, and this eyebrow wants to continue going this way, whereas this brow is going this way. So this jump here is too sharp. Instead, what you can do is this. So it's the same idea, the pose reads the same way, but now you have more connection. You could even push the pose more if you want to by rotating these brows. This is very extreme. I don't think the outer brow should go up that much, but if you wanted to, you could do this and it still feels connected. So hopefully seeing them side by side makes it really obvious that this pose looks broken. And to maintain connectivity even more, you also need to remember that the brows pulling up or pushing down also affects the upper eyelid. The eye will be wider when the brow is up, and vice versa, they will be squished when the brows are pushing down. Knowing these rules, you can create pretty much any brow shape, but always try to keep them simple and graphic, like in these drawings. You'll find that there aren't really that many shapes out there that you can work with. They tend to repeat a lot. When you're using real-life references, be really careful because some people have really expressive brows, like Emilia Clarke, for example. It's amazing what she can do with her brows, but you don't want to copy those wavy shapes like she has here. It won't translate well on an animated character. Also keep in mind that there are many different brow shapes out there. Some people have a straighter brow, some have a really high arch, others have naturally very rounded brows. And this can be really confusing when you're posing your character, but you need to think about the essence of the pose and how it translates onto your 3D character. For example, if someone's neutral pose is this, please don't go and make Max's eyebrows look like that. It will immediately make him look off model because that's not how his neutral brows are supposed to be. And this image here is another great example of how different eyebrow types look when they're raised. So a straighter brow on a person will keep that straighter look even when the eyebrow is raised. And some people have a more rounded brow when they raise them. And for some people, it's the outer arch that gets raised more. So instead of copying what you see, think about the emotion that the brows are conveying and pose the character accordingly. The easiest thing to do is study other animations and characters with similar eyebrow shapes to the character you're animating and trying to copy that, or looking at 2D drawings of character expression sheets. Those tend to look a lot more cartoony and graphic, and they're much easier to follow. We will eventually create a pose library for our characters so that it's easier to keep them on model, but the same rule applies to any character, so you always have to keep that in mind. Okay, so let's talk about why eyebrows move and in what situations. So of course, when there's a change of emotion, the eyebrows also reflect that along with the rest of the expression. Changing the eyebrow shape can also help when you're trying to convey thought, or also they are a great way to help hit accents. And when I say accents, I don't mean language accents. I mean the little sharp movements the character makes sometimes. We will talk more about hitting accents when we're analyzing dialogue, but for now, here's a couple of examples.
Right? That's why we gotta win. The town will cheer our names, and Colin's life will be ruined! Sorry.
So there are several accents in this video. For example, when she says, right, that's why we gotta win. So here she does the accent with her hand and also her whole head, but I'm mostly focusing now on the eyebrows because that's what we're talking about today. So the eyebrows are down and then they shoot up. And you can see that the eyes also become wider at that same time.
The town will cheer.
And then the town will cheer our name. So again, she's doing the accent with her hand and also her whole head and her eyebrows. So anytime you have a stress in the dialogue, that's when you would do an accent.
The town will cheer our names.
So you can hear it the way she says cheer. The town will cheer our names. That's a great place for an accent. And let's play one more clip from Encanto this time.
Hug it out. Luisa can't lift an empanada. Mariano's nose looks like a smashed papaya. Have you lost your mind?
And here the accent I really love is this part.
Nose looks like a smashed papaya.
Smashed papaya. So you can see Isabella's eyebrows are very low. She's angry at Mirabel. And then as she smashes the rose, which is very fitting because she's saying smashed papaya, her eyebrows go from this low position to a big stretch frame with the eyes wide open and the eyebrows going up. So again, we're gonna discuss stress and accents later, but for now you can keep in mind that eyebrows can really reinforce those accents, especially if you have a close-up of the face and you're playing with the expressions. Eyebrows also tend to change when you're showing tension and then release of tension. So, for example, a character is angry or stressed, their eyebrows tend to be a lot more tense and contracted. And when the character relaxes, the eyebrows also relax. And eyebrows can also move to push the line of action on the face as the head turns. And again, this is something we'll be discussing more when we're talking about the entire face, after we do the individual parts of the face. But this is a great example of that. So usually if the character is looking to the side, that side of the face will be more open. So you have the brow on the inner side down and the outer side is up. And this eye is also more open. So you're opening the face in the direction where the character is looking. And then when she turns her head to the other side, she has that same expression but reversed. So now this eyebrow is up and this one is down and she's looking this way. And the emotion is exactly the same. She's still doing the same exact thing, but because she turned her head, the animator switched which eyebrow is up and which one is down. And the last thing we need to talk about is how the brows move. Eyebrows tend to lead the head movement. So usually you have the eyes darting first because that's the fastest movement. And then you have the eyebrow change, and then the whole head turns. But of course, just like with anything, it's a rule that you can break. You can have the head turn first and then the eyebrows change, that's totally fine. But that's just the rule of thumb that you can go by. Something interesting I've learned recently in an acting class is that if you ask a question and you don't know the answer to it, usually your brows go more tense and they go down. So for example, if you're thinking, did I turn off the stove before leaving the house? But you're not sure about it, usually your brows go into a frown, you're thinking about it. But if you're asking a question you already know the answer to, your brows usually tend to go up into a more bright expression. So if you're asking someone, that was really fun, right? It's not really a question. So usually in that case, your brows go up instead of into a frown. So again, this really depends on the situation you're animating, but it can be something helpful to keep in mind. So just like the eyes, the brows move pretty fast, but not as fast as the eye darts. So the eye darts are usually 2 to 3 frames long, and the brows, depending on the situation, can be, let's say, 3 to 10 frames long. And you'll notice if you try doing this yourself, is that when you move the eyebrows fast, the movement is very smooth. But if you try raising your brows very slowly, the movement becomes really jerky, so it moves kind of in steps. And that doesn't feel very natural, so that tells you that the brows naturally move faster. Something you'll notice from just these expression changes is that there tends to be a big cushion after the movement. So the movement happens fast, but then it cushions for a while. So you don't want the eyebrows to be hitting a wall after the expression changes. The inner brow tends to move a lot more than the outer brow. So most of the work will be done on these inner controllers right here. And then these controllers will be moving less, but you can also rotate them. And the outer controllers won't move that much. So even if you, let's say, raise the brows, sometimes you want to take the outer brow and bring it back down a little bit. So you do have some movement, but it's not as much as the outer brow, because you don't want the full eyebrow to be sliding up and down on the face. You still want it to feel connected, like the muscles are attached to the bone. And just like anything else, the inner brow needs to be moving in arcs. So let's say you go from a neutral position into a frown. You don't want the inner brow feel like they're going in a straight line. So what you can do is key the neutral pose, then key the frown. And once you spline it, naturally the brow will move in a straight line. But then you can grab the X location and just offset it by, let's say, 1 or 2 frames. And immediately that offset from going down to going in will create an arc on the brow. And also don't forget to add a nice cushion there. So you don't want the up and down to finish harshly and then the in and out to finish harshly. You want to stack them on top of each other, but also cushion so that the movement looks very smooth. And the very last thing I want to mention is just how far you can push the eyebrows when you go up. So again, it will depend on the character you're animating, but you don't want the eyebrows to be going all the way up here. Even if you're doing a very surprised pose, this distance right here, even if I move the eyelids up as much as they go, this is a huge real estate we have here. So again, this will make Max look off model. So I'd say the highest I would go with the eyebrows on a really extreme pose is maybe somewhere here. And I wouldn't stay in this extreme pose for too long. So if you're doing an overshoot or a stretch frame, that's fine. But if he's shocked for a while, you don't want the eyebrows to be this high for a long time. So yeah, we want to be cartoony and we want to push the poses compared to what we can do with our own faces, but it still has to look appealing on your character. Okay, so I think that's everything when it comes to brows. I would suggest practicing some poses by grabbing some character sheets or pictures of eyebrow poses from Pinterest and just trying to pose your character and see how many eyebrow shapes you can get. I think you'll realize pretty quickly that there aren't that many shapes, and also you'll become really comfortable posing the ones that do exist. So now that we understand how the eyes work, how the brows work, and how they work together as a mask, now we're ready to animate a blink. So in the next lesson, we're gonna animate a simple blink and also talk about how other types of blinks work. So thank you for watching, go practice, and I'll see you in the next one.